This time I'm in the smallest room in the house, replacing the heater element on my towel rail. Hi, and welcome to the Handyman at Home channel. A like-for-like replacement for this heat pole heater element was coming in at well over £100, so I've decided to go for this MEG one from Terma, which is around £68. So these floorboards were originally removed when we had the towel rail before this one installed. As you can see, a hole for the pipe was made there. Now it might have been possible for me to actually remove this one. If I'd have taken these two floorboards up, remove this heater element, I might have been able to get the new one in without having to take the towel rail off the wall and drain down the system. But I'm also decorating the room. There are a number of holes out of shot which need filling in the wall, some repair to the wallpaper, so it's just easier in this particular case to take the towel rail off. Before I drain down the system, I'm going to tie up the ball cock so the header tank doesn't keep refilling. We'll make sure the boiler's turned off. Connect the hose to the drain valve. Make sure it's tight. Crack the valve open. You should hear it start to drain. Once it's been draining for a while, we'll need to go around and open all of the bleed valves on each of the radiators to let air into the system so that all of the water can drain out freely. If you do this too soon, you might still get water coming out, but we should just effectively hear air going into the system now. So I need to go around the rest of the house and do the rest of the radiators, starting with the upstairs floor. So whilst I'm doing that, the water's still draining out of the lower ones. And of course, don't forget to close them all back up once the drain down's been completed. Otherwise you'll have water spurting everywhere when you come to refill the system. So I've drained down the system. Probably still going to be some water left in these pipes which are below the drain point, but we'll deal with that in a moment. So next step is I'm going to take the towel rail off. This one's actually quite loose. Okay. Take off the little caps. Try not to drop them through the hole in the floor, and then we can undo the securing caps. Won't take them all off just yet. Okay, time to take the heater element out. I thought at first I'd need a spanner or a wrench, but it actually seems pretty loose. It's quite surprising really, because we certainly haven't had any leaks from it. There we go. Came out without too much trouble. So luckily we're not yet in the hosepipe bam zone. I've no doubt this will result in me getting soaked, but we'll see. If we compare the two heater elements, this is the one I've taken off, which is a heat pole, 300 watt, installed in 2018. So what's that, 7 years? Not brilliant, is it? Anyway, control on the front through a rotary dial, anywhere from off, frost protection, to 1, 2 and 3 settings. The new one, Terma MEG, slightly shorter, but still 300 watt. Works slightly differently. It's got 3 buttons on there. One turn the power on and off, one to reduce the temperature setting, which is displayed with these 5 LEDs, and one to increase the temperature setting. We'll look at that when we've installed it. It does remember the settings, so whereas this one, I guess you'd say, is dumb, it's just a manual setting. If you turn the power off at the fuse spur, doesn't matter. Whereas this one, as I say, has got a memory function such that if you do turn the power off at the fuse spur, especially if you're controlling it through some sort of schedule, then it remembers the temperature setting, so you don't have to keep switching it on or changing the temperature every time. Well, it comes with the world's thickest user manual, but to be fair, it covers a whole range of different models and is in, I don't know, 27 different languages. It doesn't actually give you very many hints about installing it. It's more to do with how you use it. But really, it's simplicity itself. It goes in where the other one came out, and then we're going to put some PTFE tape around the thread to give a good seal in that fitting there. In fact, it's a little bit easier to put the PTFE tape on first. Right, there we go. Making sure that it's going to face outwards and not that way around. That's it. For now, I've just put some temporary fittings on just to close off the 2 pipes. I know those isolators aren't for use with central heating systems, but just as a temporary measure to stop the residual water in the system draining out all onto the concrete. Okay, time to get it back on the mounting posts. I can see a slight mark from the fixture on the bar there, so gives me a good idea of where to position it. Next one in. Again, if you've got a handy helper to hold it while you're doing this, it makes the job a lot easier. So when I eventually managed to disconnect the chrome pipes from the fittings underneath the floorboards, I decided to replace the speed fit fittings on the other ends of the pipes, actually 90 degree I think they were. But what I noticed was that the ends of the chrome pipe were very heavily corroded. Now these speed fit fittings, you're not to use them with chrome pipe. So the previous installer, when he'd done the job, he had rubbed off some of the chrome coating with emery paper, I guess, but it wasn't particularly thorough job, and I guess that's contributed to some of the corrosion. And within the fitting, I didn't save it unfortunately, within the fitting there was obviously some corrosion as well, perhaps due to the interaction of the stainless steel clip there with the chrome. Don't know about that, but what I found was that there's enough flexibility on the pipes underneath the floorboard to allow me to take off, what's that, about 1 centimetre, half an inch or so, take off that from the bottom of the pipe. So I'm starting with a clean pipe, and then I've gone round and emeried off as best as I can all of the chrome coating. So we should be good to use the new speed fit fittings on here without any problem. And I think the main concern is the interaction of the stainless clip with the chrome, but also the spring action of the clip needs to grip onto normally the copper pipe, and with a chrome coating that's a lot harder. Anyway, it seems pretty good to me, so I think I'm going to go with that. So this was just for demonstration purposes, and you can't undo it now. So there we go. So I've done both pipes and we can refit them now to the radiator. So just while I'm here, you can see that my Einhell batteries are taking up valuable space on my workbench. So one of my projects that's coming up soon is a storage facility for my batteries and some other items that otherwise take up space on my workbench. So make sure you're subscribed if you're interested in that sort of thing, coming up in the next couple of weeks. So I've put a little bit of PTFE tape on ready. Get it roughly in position. As is the way with these things, what should have been a simple job has turned into something a little bit more complicated. I managed to nick the insulation on the live conductor, so I need to put some heat shrink on that. And the other thing is I managed to buy a flex outlet with the entrance or exit in the centre, and the previous fit in there had one offset, so having nicely painted in the groove there, I've had to carve my own. Well, the skirting board isn't a work of art, but unless you're down on your hands and knees, you're not going to notice. Right, that's it done here. All we need to do now is connect in at the fuse spur and the job's done. In parallel with this small project, I've been installing a smart toilet seat, which you can see in this video here. So I've already installed the back boxes for both supplies, top one for the smart toilet seat and this one for the heated towel rail. So what I've got here is the red tape indicates the live coming from the consumer unit through the circuit breaker, and then I've temporarily had that connected into the smart toilet seat fuse spur unit, and this is the feed to the heated towel rail. So I'm just going to shorten this live feed cable, then connect up the fuse spur unit, and apart from getting the central heating system back on, job's done. With just a 300 watt heater, the 3 amp fuse should be more than sufficient. We switch it on. To turn it on, you press the center button, and we can see the first LED is flashing, which means it's starting to heat up to a relatively low level. To increase the temperature, we can go up to 5 levels, so we just press the button and it increases all the way over to 5. Conversely, if you want to reduce the temperature, press the negative button and it goes back down. Okay, it's been on for a few minutes now and the rail's starting to get nice and warm. I set it to warm up to level 3, and as we can see, the first 3 LEDs are now solid, whereas the fourth one's still flashing. So it's not quite at the level, but the 3 indicate it's about 75% of the way there. If we want to reduce it, we can press the minus button, back down to 2 say, and that indicates the 2 solid there. That means it's certainly meeting the level 2 temperature, but it's in the process of cooling down now to reach level 2. Hope that sort of makes sense. As I say in the book, it's not particularly well written, but you get the idea. And obviously, if we switch the fuse spur off now, the power's removed obviously. If I put it back on, it carries on doing what it was doing last. So there we are, I've got a lovely warm towel rail on my back now. Fairly straightforward to install. As I said right at the start of the video, I could possibly have done it without taking the towel rail off if I'd have moved a couple more floorboards, been able to pull the heater element straight down. But as it was, I needed to repair some damage to the wall, some holes, also deal with some wallpaper that had been damaged, and then the whole room needed decorating anyway, so it was just easier for me, and it gave me the opportunity to give it a good flush out as well. So I like the look of the heater element from Terma. It's nice and compact, very easy to use, clear buttons. Instructions are not quite as clear as they could be, but I think once you've used it once, you figure out what's going on. I would have preferred one with a white flex rather than silver, but hey, it's not the end of the world. Okay then, I think I'll call this one done. Thanks very much for watching. If you found it of interest or useful, or maybe even both, please do give it a thumbs up. It really does help. And also subscribe if you've not subscribed already. Thanks. Okay, I'll hope to see you on the next one. Cheers.